Another Whopper Lake effect storm in progress this Wednesday afternoon with brutal driving conditions, lots of driving bans in effect again in many Erie County communities. And as I record this early in the afternoon, the lake effect snow ban has gone all the way up to Niagara Falls and is actually a little farther north than modeled. It has earlier this morning, those of you living in the densely populated Buffalo Southtowns pasted those Southtowns again. Hamburg received 41 inches over the weekend. They got a fresh 21 inches today. So do the math. Similar for West Seneca. Uh, Lackawanna, the town just south of the city, if you're not from around here, picked up about 31 inches of fresh snow earlier today. Now, the snow accumulations have been enormous, partly due to the harsh cold we have. The flakes are very fluffy. People hear the cliche, well, 1 inch of rain equals 12 inches of snow. That's usually not the case. It's all dependent on the vertical temperature profile. When it gets this cold, the snow becomes much fluffier in most situations. And the ratio today was 1 inch of liquid to 25 inches of snow. These big, fluffy dendrite flakes, well, they're not that big, but there's lots of airspace between them. And the snow will stay low density into tomorrow, although Thursday's temperatures will moderate a little bit, so the ratio should come down just a wee bit. In the meantime, this lake effect snow band, now well north of Buffalo, is getting a little less Lake Erie fetch, but it's still rather intense. And within it, the winds are strong enough to produce occasional whiteouts, and in some parts of the band, frequent whiteouts. Later today, it is going to begin to slip farther south again, heading back toward the Buffalo Northtowns first, and then the city. The exact hour, a little tough to call. If there were a PM commute, there's not going to be much of one today due to all the closings, it would have a major impact. Again, the winds are averaging 20 to 30 out of the southwest, currently the south-southwest, with gusts well over 30, and the winds will stay in that range through the afternoon and slowly diminish tonight. Now, the models are suggesting this band getting back into the metro area, staying a while, and then slowly edging into the Buffalo Southtowns again, and maybe a bit farther south for a short while, at least late tonight. At that time, the wind should be down to 10 to 15, so anyone who is able to travel in a non-banned area will encounter fewer whiteouts. The winds will be below that threshold. Then tomorrow, widespread lighter snow is going to move across western New York associated with the disturbance. Embedded within it will be a narrow band of lake effect snow. The general accumulation from the widespread or synoptic snow will only be a couple of inches, 2 to 3, but within that embedded band, you could see an additional 6 inches. The models aren't in great agreement on where that embedded band within the synoptic snow will be. One model suggests it will come back up to far northern Erie County and maybe southern Niagara County on a south-southwest breeze. Not as windy tomorrow, so we're not going to be dealing with true whiteouts very much, if at all. Temperatures moderating a bit to the mid-20s. Then more widespread snow on Friday from an area of low pressure going by, not lake effect, but a north-northeast breeze off Lake Ontario will make it a little colder again, the low 20s, and could bring some lake enhancement to locations north and northeast of Buffalo from Lake Ontario, the wind from the north-northeast. Saturday, a cold northwest wind producing a bitter wind chill, scattered snow showers with a trough around, no heavy accumulations, but some blowing snow and temperatures only in the mid to uh, low teens with sub-zero wind chills. The relatively good news for game day Sunday is that it will be mainly dry, excuse me, partly to mostly sunny, a little breezy. The afternoon high for tailgaters, only about 24, which may sound good, but that still could produce frostbite in combination with a 10 to 20 mile an hour breeze if you're not careful. And the good news also in advance of the game is there should be enough of a time span for shoveling to occur with a little less of a time squeeze this time in advance of the 6:30 game. Game time temperatures in the low 20s, the breeze subsiding a little during the course of the game, but it will be a dry game, and there should be more clearing of the stadium possible before this game than before Sunday's game. The pattern change begins to move in next week, a little on Monday into the low to mid 30s on Tuesday and the low 40s on Wednesday. And it does appear over the next couple of weeks, our temperatures will be returning to above average most days, well into the latter part of the month. There are some hints that at the very end of the month, we may start to see another ridge of high pressure stacked up over Alaska and Western North America, which would force the polar jet stream to drop back south into the U.S. But starting early next week, polar air will be cut off from the lower 48 for at least 8 to 10 days, maybe a little longer than that. So I'll keep you updated on that. Again, treacherous travel conditions where there are no bands. Blowing snow today due to the fluffiness of the snow and the gusty winds. They're not as strong as what we had over the weekend, but they're strong enough to make whiteouts. And within the band, uh, just plain treacherous travel, even if there isn't a ban in your community, say in Niagara County. Blinding whiteouts are occurring. Now, I have a detailed forecast on my Facebook page with graphics. I've just looked for me, Don Paul. And let's see what my Facebook address is: lowercase facebook.com/don.paul.90/. That's my Facebook page. And I hope some of you will check that out. And I hope you'll continue to check out this podcast. I enjoy doing it, and we're getting some growth. Thank you for sharing and following. And I'll stay in touch with you not only here, but on social media.